Hey guys, welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast, the only show handcrafted for small business entrepreneurs looking to explode their business. It's time to get your mind right so you can get your grind right. Are you ready?
Success is never owned. It's only rented, and the rent is due every day.
Hello again, Josh here. Thank you for joining me today. Now, my mission is to deliver you, the listener, with power-packed, no-fluff business insights from some of the small business success stories from all over the world, and today we have a good one. I'm joined by Chris Lambrinides, widely known in the cleaning industry, especially on the internet. He's our owner and the founder as well of the largest online forum for window cleaners in the world. There's like close to 30,000 window cleaners on this thing. He's also the founder of All County Window Cleaning in New Jersey. They had over 50 employees at their top point, doing over $300,000 a month in revenue. This guy knows small business. I heard a story about Chris. When he was a kid, he would clean $1 bills and stack them up in neat little piles. This guy was eating bologna sandwiches, living on nothing when his business was doing $100,000 a month. This guy is hardcore, and I can't wait to get into the interview. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing great, Josh. How are you?
I am doing awesome. I am in beautiful Tamarindo, Costa Rica. Just out my window is the ocean with a bunch of hippies and surfers going all over the place. I don't know if they're up this early because I think they partied pretty hard last night. But it's a beautiful, it's a beautiful country, and I'm blessed. I'm happy to be here. How are things in New Jersey?
It's a sunny, beautiful day in Vernon, New Jersey. The summer is just starting to wind down. The weather's been phenomenal. I'm getting a lot of rain. My lawn's nice and green. That makes me happy. And all in all, it's been a great summer.
One of the first times I went to New Jersey, the only way I pictured New Jersey was just cement everywhere, which actually isn't the case. It's a mountainous, hilly, green, woodsy place. And I think Jersey Shore kind of ruined you guys, for the rest of the nation, because I just pictured a big cement paradise out there.
Yeah, that's everybody's first thought about New Jersey, typically because you fly into Newark Airport and that's all you can see as you're coming down. But once you venture out about an hour or so, it's really just full-on woods. I live on basically an old farm property, and we're very out in the woods here.
I just want to dive right in here because you have such a unique story. I mean, first of all, in the cleaning business, it can be a very hard business to scale. I know in my cleaning business, we had some success, but one of the hardest things is to scale because it's an intimate thing. You're inside people's homes. You're inside $1 million homes. You're in their bedroom. You're in their bathroom. You're cleaning their glass. And it's not something that you can do easily sometimes. I think because with staff issues, employee issues, building a scalable model that involves trustworthy employees that have high-level demeanor going into people's homes. I don't think that's necessarily an easy thing to do, and I think a lot of cleaning companies get stuck because the owner is the technician, and he's the guy that's good with customers, and he can never break free from that role, and a lot of times they're blaming employee issues and saying I can't find the right guys, and how am I going to grow my business? I can't trust people to go into other people's homes. How in the world do you take a cleaning company? And I mean, at one point, I think you guys did you guys were regularly doing $300,000+ a month in dirty stuff in people's homes. It's just an unbelievable thing. Give me an overview of how that even happens.
Well, typically service businesses have trouble scaling, mainly because the employees and the seasonality of the business. Most service businesses do have 2 peaks and 2 valleys a year. So you might have an abundance of work at your disposal, but you just simply can't get it done in a good, on-point way because you can't get people trained up fast enough. And as to get them trained up, the slow season is here and you have to let a bunch of them go. Incredibly difficult to scale.
Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, it's feast or famine. It feels like you're starving, or else you're overwhelmed and stressed out and yelling at your kids and hyperventilating, right? So what do you do to bridge the gap between those peaks and valleys?
What we did is, now I'm a younger guy, so I kind of tended to hire people within my age range. And as soon as we started first hiring people, it made a lot of sense to me to hook up with the local community college and the other regular college in the area. And we solved that problem pretty much by using college kids during the busy season, because we knew they only wanted to come in for 3 months while they were on break. We knew they were dependable and somewhat had a good head on their shoulders, because they were, attending college, showing that they were doing something responsible. And we were able to overcome that strictly by tapping into that labor that was, guaranteed to be temporary, but you knew you would be getting those same people back for 3 or 4 years as they progressed through their college career.
That is very, very similar to what we did. I think it's a really good point. There's a lot more elasticity in a 19 to 23-year-old's life sometimes than there could be in maybe a family guy, and maybe that's not as huge of a need for him to be employed full time. So that's a really good workaround for sure. Tell me a little bit. I want to circle back to the bologna sandwich thing. I mean, this just fascinates me, and how you are eating bologna sandwiches when you're doing $100,000 a month in revenue, and how does that work? I mean, what's the logic there, and why does so many people, steal all the money out of their business before it has a chance to succeed?
Well, it ended up working for me because from the very beginning, right when I started the company, I was just about 22 years old, probably. I had no family at the time, and I didn't have any real responsibilities. I didn't really have to do anything productive other than work. And in my mind, I knew what the company should look like when it's done. I had this picture in my mind that it was always going to be this thing that I was imagining, and I wanted to get there as fast as possible. So I didn't take any luxuries out of the business. I lived very meagerly. I lived well under my means, simply in an effort to reinvest every single last dime that was free back into growth, back into infrastructure, back into training, back into things that were going to help me double down on the business in the next season.
I mean, that is a fascinating and incredible thing, because, I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, I don't think they have necessarily a knowledge issue, but it's more of a behavior issue. I mean, to me, a lot of guys, it's like they know enough to succeed, but for some reason they can't quite stick to the plan long enough to really give themselves a fighting chance. And I call it, when I consult people and when I talk to people, I call that grinding. And I didn't invent the word grinding, of course, but you gotta be all in and focused on that end goal. I think the big takeaway here from what you just said is that you could see your business in your mind, and I was the same way. I mean, I could smell it, I could feel it, I could touch it. Even though it didn't exist, it felt real to me. It was an obsession. It was in my mind. It was in my sleep. It was when I woke up, and I think having that clear picture maybe helps you. Makes it easier to grind, because it feels real to you, even though maybe everybody else thinks you're crazy.
Yeah, I was on a 5-year grind when I first started the thing. Never a day's break, never took a step back. It was just, I knew where I wanted it to go, and I grinded towards it for 5 years straight. And, the thing about the grind is, once you've been doing the grind for a little bit, you really come to enjoy it and can't picture living any other way than that. It becomes reality.
Yeah, I think a lot of young entrepreneurs try really hard to avoid really hard work. And what happens is they're trying to find that bridge, that shortcut, that easy way, that workaround. Eventually, you figure out that doesn't exist, and that the best way to achieve success is just to work really, really hard without stopping on one specific thing. And but yeah, I agree. For me, I tried to find the easy path, but I actually love working a million hours and working hard because I'm passionate about it now. And I think maybe young people they don't fully understand that hard work isn't that scary, and in fact, it can be a really great part of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I want to talk to part of the theme of this show is automate, grow, and eventually sell your business. And a lot of guys tell me, Josh, I don't want to sell my business. I want to pass it down to my kids. I don't automate and grow. That's fine. I don't want to sell. But my counter to them is, you don't have to sell, but you need to build your business as if you could sell it so that it could be sold. And the reason for that isn't about money, it's about lifestyle. It's about having a system that produces income. It's about being a business owner rather than being self-employed. It's all of those other benefits, If you're a one-man show out there and you fall off a ladder and get hurt, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, if your business is built around you don't have a business. You have a job that you own, right?
Are you looking for a simple way to get more sales, more referrals, and strengthen your customer loyalty? Look no further than sendjim.com. It was handcrafted for you as a powerful tool that will automate your follow-ups after the sale. Imagine being able to stay in contact with your customers all year long by pushing a single button on your smartphone. This is a space-age warp speed technology, and it will eliminate the chaos inside your business caused by trying to properly follow up with all of your leads and customers. Sign up for a free trial with no credit card required at sendjim.com right now. What are you waiting for?
And out of automate, grow, sell, out of those three things, which one of those do you think is your strong suit?
Growth and automate. I'm really good at breaking down things that need to be done into a set of processes and slowly going through each of those processes and refining it, tuning it, and tweaking it to where it can be set up where you have almost no involvement in it other than checking on a couple progress reports here and there.
Reduce the business down to a weekly report, and boom, you drink your coffee, and if your business is healthy or if it's sick, if it's on pace or it's off pace. What an incredible thing.
Yeah. I have certain metrics that I'll look at once a week. I'll have certain metrics that I look at once a month, once a quarter. But really, my daily set of things I'm looking at, I am actually looking at it on a daily basis so I can keep a real good finger on the pulse of the business.
I think understanding your numbers is another critical thing that people miss. So I talk to a lot of people that are just starting out. That I'll ask them questions like, what's your crew hour? What's your target rate per crew hour? What's your target rate per man hour? What's your weekly revenue goal? Your daily revenue goal? What's your monthly revenue goal? What's your year over year goal? Your month? It's like they have to really stop and think. And I think it's important that you should know these numbers in 1 second. They should be a part of your thought process all the time. I know for me, it was all about revenue metrics and daily production metrics and sales, close rate and stuff like that. Is there any other metrics that I'm missing here that were important in your business?
Yeah, my main metrics, because I ran a residential and a commercial business. My main metrics on the commercial side were collection ratio. How much of the money did they collect throughout the day based upon the amount of work they did? And I would look at their completion ratio. When they went out on the routes, I wanted to know exactly that they completed 97.2% of their work that day. I wanted to know those two things. I think with a storefront business, you can boil it all down to that. And with our residential business, there was a lot more that we looked at. It was upsells on the job, man hours, hourly rate based upon people in the vehicle, customer satisfaction rates, our feedback rates, our review rates, damage, replacements. There was a whole slew of them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. And, I think for little guys, if they start to look at themselves as a CEO, and it might feel weird to call yourself a CEO when it's just you. It might feel weird to call yourself a CEO when there's maybe two people in your business. But that's what you are. You're an executive of a company. And when you start to flip your perspective a little bit, it's easier to say, you know what do I need to know? Where's the heartbeat of my business? I need to check the pulse of my business. And to me, metrics is where that's at for sure. And that's some really good stuff you just gave, Chris. Thanks for sharing that. I want to ask you a few questions in general. We're going to call this section the Wisdom Corner. And so, first of all, I don't know if you have a favorite quote, but I'm a huge quote guy. I mean, the Stephen Covey quote, "Begin with the end in mind." I don't know if that's a quote or more one of his concepts from the 7 Habits book, but that's a big one for me, is to always begin with the end in mind. Do you have a favorite quote, Chris? What's your favorite one?
Absolutely. And I write this quote down every morning in my book before I do anything. Success is never owned. It's only rented, and the rent is due every day.
My word, I've never heard that. That is incredible. I mean, that...
Yeah, it's by a guy, Rory Vaden. And when you really think about it, it is so true. It keeps you from getting complacent. It keeps you hustling every day. And I don't know, as a guy out on my own running various businesses, I for the most part feel like I wake up unemployed every day. I can't rest on what I did yesterday. I have to keep the grind going on the daily.
Unbelievable. I mean, that is absolutely true. And I think even when you have a measure of success, you still have that knot in your stomach. I know, at least I do. I'm still hungry. There's still a lot more to be done. And, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away, man. And any success that you think you have could probably evaporate a number of different ways very quickly. So I think that's an incredible way to start your day.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the biggest business mistake you've ever made? And if we could focus on the window cleaning business too, I still want to talk about your forum and all this stuff you're doing in the industry. You've really shaken some things up. But with the cleaning business, I know you had over 50 employees at one point. I don't even know how many trucks you had, dozens of trucks, just craziness, And during that journey, what's the toughest mistake that you've had to deal with?
Really, and I've repeated this mistake throughout all my businesses. Our frontline window cleaning guys were very good, very systemized. I put a lot of systems in place to make sure everything went off smoothly every day. But where I really lacked was with the office systems. I found over time I was basically abdicating job roles to people as opposed to delegating them. When I say abdicating, abdicating the responsibility. Like, all right, it's all on you and I'm going to forget about it now. And I think sometimes that allows you to slip into complacency a little bit. You start relying on people and not systems. And, I've let my people, unfortunately, sometimes over the years be trained by the tribal method as opposed to a dedicated training process. So there's not one specific mistake, but all the mistakes I can think of can be boiled down because I did those things wrong.
Oh my word, I hope you guys are listening out there, because this is a huge, huge mind bomb, okay? Let me recap what Chris just said. There's a difference between abdicating to employees and delegating to employees, and there's a difference to having your business rely on a system as opposed to having it rely on a person. This is a major point. If you get anything out of this interview, Chris, I think that's a big one, because for me, the first time I got really, really, really hurt by an employee, it was like getting punched in the stomach. When an employee left and the business suffered for a while, that's when the light bulb went off for me, that I said, wait a second, this whole area of my business was way too reliant on this guy rather than a system. Is that kind of what you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it caused some, pretty devastating losses in the company when somebody that was there for 5 or 6 years and they ran a whole head of a department, poof, up and left. Whether they got another opportunity or headed out with another coworker and they couldn't do it anymore. It can cause some serious damage to your business if you let it go on too long.
Oh, huge, especially if you only have one guy or two guys and that happens to you early in your growth stage of your business. it can really, take the wind out of your sails, take away your motivation. I think a lot of guys don't ever get going on the growth because maybe that happens 2 or 3 times in a row before they can scale, and they think, this is useless. I'm never going to grow this business. You can't find good help. But guys, there's hope. There's power in the system. You can protect and hedge your bet against the employee, blowing your company apart by properly understanding and using systems. Chris, good one.
Listen up. Now remember, being self-employed is not the same as being a business owner. And if you are looking for a way to automate your business and build yourself a clear path to the dream that keeps eluding you, then check out my online small business boot camp. It's a go at your own pace, it's power-packed, it's a mind bomb. It will help you understand exactly how to architecture out and systematize your small business right now so you can finally be back in control. Go to windowwealth.com right now and check it out. Use the code MINDBOMB to save 30%. It's time to invest in yourself.
You're a reader. I know that you read. I know you're a podcast guy too. What's the best book you've read in the last year?
I read 85 books last year. And 5 are
unbelievable.
Let me take a step back. For the past 10 years, my favorite book, my turn-to book all the time, was The E-Myth Mastery by Michael Gerber. And last year, a friend recommended to me Scaling Up by Vernon Harnish. He's the author of The Rockefeller Principles. You might have heard of that. But this book is so amazing. It takes all the core how-to principles from the E-Myth Mastery and takes them just to a whole nother level. Basically, the book addresses the core elements of running a business and how to implement them. They break down the 4 core elements of a business to people, strategy, execution, and cash. And it really just clearly lays out a precise path that will guide you through each step and through multiple growth phases in your company. It takes you completely out of the daily view of your business and instantly brings you up to that 30,000-foot level where you can really just see the mechanics on how different things in your business all interact with each other and kind of form a symbiotic relationship.
Oh, my word. That I'm a huge advocate. I call it getting in the hot air balloon. But zoom out, guys. In your business, you got to zoom out. And when you're a technician in your business, it's so easy to get stuck on a stepladder perspective. And when you're on the stepladder, you can't even see what's in front of you 25 feet. I mean, you got to be able to zoom out, even if it's an hour a night. Even if you're trapped in your business right now, if you can zoom out, an hour at night and just dream a little bit and get some different perspective. I always say, change your perspective so you can change your directive. But the E-Myth is exactly that, and I definitely want to check out the other book you mentioned. Speaking of zooming out and business owners being overwhelmed and thinking they don't have time to work on systems, what role do you think fear plays, in the mind of business owners? Because I don't think you came from an entrepreneurial family, Chris, and I know I didn't, and you didn't know that you were going to have this gigantic megalithic cleaning success story, right? So when you're in it, trying to do it, was fear knocking at your door like it did at mine? And how do you think that messed with your mind along the way?
Oh, it was there every second of the day. There was constant fear. My parents never wanted me to start a business. They said, don't be stupid. Go to college. Go get a job somewhere. Go to the city and work. And I knew it just wasn't for me. So even getting into this, I was pretty fearful just from what was drilled into my head in the past 20 years. There's a saying that fear is healthy, but panic is deadly. I think fear can be deadly as well if it's not balanced just right. A certain amount of fear can be healthy if it helps you make better decisions on a day-to-day basis. But too much fear will absolutely lead to horrible decision-making. I remember many a fearful winter in the beginning. Broke as a joke, no cash flow coming in, and we were just making horrible, horrible fear-based decisions all over the place that we shouldn't have. On the inverse of that, once I got into a place where I was comfortable with cash and the fear started to disappear, I entered one of the most creative periods in my life. If I didn't have that fear drilling down on me every day, I was really, really, really able to think creatively, and I've done just some of my most creative works once I was able to free myself from that fear a little bit.
Even little wins in a business, guys, can help you, mitigate the fear a little bit. But I want you all to listen out there, all the listeners out there, to know that having that knot in your stomach, that's not bad. The best magic happens when you're just outside your comfort zone. I mean, if you're not scared, you're probably not doing anything significant in your life. And if you're not pushing the envelope, you're not going to have that knot in your stomach. So what a great insight, Chris. Last couple questions here. This is one of my favorite ones. Most important in business, what do you think it is? Do you think it's the team, the product, or the plan? And what I mean by that is, do you think it's having the perfect staff and team members, or do you think it's having the perfect technical cleaning product, or whatever it is that your business does? Maybe you're a lawn care company. We have listeners that do lots of different businesses. Is it the product itself, or is it your business plan? What do you think is the most important out of those three?
I think that comes down to the type of business you're in and what stage of the business you happen to be in at that time. So for example, I think with a web startup, it should be all product at first. With a service business, it could be the plan. For me right now, our team is really tight and the product is just right, and we're just really, really focused on our operational plan and automation, both business and marketing automation. So for me right now, it's the plan. But last year, it was the team as I was putting some people together. So I think it's impossible to pin it down to just one. It's whatever is right at that stage of your business.
That is a really, really good point, because a single employee small business, that single employee is like hypercritical, right? Because he's the only guy. I mean, you lose that guy, and there's no other guy. He's your guy. So I think that's really, really a good insight there. Why do you think that so many small businesses fail? I don't know the statistic. I mean, it changes. People say it's 30%, 50% within 2 years or something. I don't even know. It's a ton though. It's a huge amount. And the weird part is every single one of those businesses thinks that they're going to just kill it, right? They're going into it thinking, dude, I got this, right? But then they turn around and fall right on their face and tail between their legs, freaked out, probably in debt. I mean, it can destroy marriages and families. It's a horrible thing. What's going on?
I think most business failure can be boiled down to focus and lack of it. I'm convinced at this point that focus is the number one quality that will make a business successful. Focused on what they're supposed to do on a day-to-day basis, not get distracted with new projects, being able to sit down and take some quiet time each day to plan on what's really important for that business to do. What are the things that are going to make it successful? It's focus, man. It's all about focus.
I hope listeners are listening, because I have this disease myself, and a lot of entrepreneurs are prone to get distracted. Like the movie Up, the cartoon, the dog sees a squirrel and he's like, "Hey, squirrel!" I mean, I was totally that guy. And there's no shortage of good ideas and lots of business ideas to start, but focus, or another way maybe you could say it is execution, right? Like finish the task at hand before you start the next task at hand. I completely agree, 110%. I think that's a great insight. Now, Chris, as we wrap up here, tell me a little bit about Window Cleaning Resource and what's going on there. I know you have a huge online store, a really, really cool website. You have a unique customer service model. The way that you guys deal with, your customers is just way over the top. What's going on with that? And tell me a little bit about the WCRA and the PWRA, if you could.
Yeah, sure. Around 2007, my brother and I had all county window cleaning pretty automated. So we lost focus and got distracted and decided to start a new business. It's called Window Cleaning Resource. And we started it based upon our 7 years of experience that we had in the window cleaning industry, dealing with other online communities, dealing with other suppliers, and we just thought we could do it better. So we launched a little message board forum for window cleaners. In the first 12 hours of launching it, 384 people signed up for it and got accounts, and I instantly knew we were onto something big. So we let the forum roll for about a year or so. We eventually rolled an e-commerce store into it so we could kind of build products into the things people were talking about on the forum, and it became pretty popular. And it's just kind of taken off from there. We see almost 50% growth each year over year since we started it. We're totally thrilled about that. And currently, we're just trying to do things that continue to add value to our community and our customers. And I think part of the reason why it took off so much is we approached it from a community first standpoint, as opposed to, hey, we're just going to start this store, come buy stuff. We build relationships with window cleaners all across the world, and it just continues to grow each day.
It's not just sort of taking off, people. This thing is wildly active, and last I checked, I think there's a little ticker on there. There's like 25,000 people. I don't know if you knew this, Chris, but when I was in the grow mode for my business, when I was reading eMyth and trying to figure out how to systemize things, I spent a lot of time on that forum, picking the brains of other people, because guys, you don't have to reinvent and manufacture your own wheel. You just got to do what successful people are doing. You just have to dig in and stick to your guns, focus, and execute for long enough to give yourself a chance to succeed. And that forum was a huge critical part in my business development. I think when I went on there, I hadn't even had a $10,000 month yet. And, we did $150,000 a month by the time I was getting towards the end of my business. And how did we do that? Well, through systems, through execution, through networking with successful people. Even if you're not in the window cleaning business, there's a lot of value on this website. It's windowcleaningresource.com. I think I was like the 1,000th sign up or something. I was really close to the 1,000 number. I don't know. And then after that, you've even went deeper into the helping people, scale their business and have the access to the resources they need. And you started the WCRA and the PWRA, which is the window cleaning or the pressure washing resource association. Tons of great tools and stuff. Can you give us a brief overview of what that is?
Yeah, sure. It's basically a window cleaning and a pressure washing association for window cleaners and pressure washers. We ended up starting it because, 3 or 4 years into starting the forum, we started to get thank you letters from people every day. We were getting 3 to 4 really nice emails each day saying, I just wanted to thank you. I was able to come to this forum, learn so much stuff, and start a successful business because of it. Today I'm out on my own and I'm doing well. And we were absolutely blown away by that. So what we decided to do was basically take all the material we have created from my old business, All County Window Cleaning, all our marketing pieces, all our systems, all our paperwork, our documents, our safety manuals, our training manuals, and put them up online. So we started the WCRA with a low cost of membership. It's like $349 a year. And for that, you get full access to everything I personally created for my window cleaning business. And everything's right there. If you go through it and follow the steps, you can build yourself a really outrageous business in a quick amount of time.
That's an unbelievable thing because, think about before technology. How in the world would some guy with a few $100 in a dream who wants to start a business get instant access to the literal, and I know how hard it is to build out a system from scratch, Chris. Because my whole business was systemized, and it's not a fun thing to do to create these things when you don't have a starting point. But it's amazing that they can start out with all of that stuff laying right in front of them for a few $100s, and plus it's the community, it's the other people you network with, it's the events you have each year, it's all the stuff. But it's truly an unbelievable value and a huge leverage of time and money to have access to that.
Yeah. I wish I had it when I started. I would have shaved years off what I learned.
Absolutely, Chris. In closing here, what's next for you? What's on the horizon? What are you working on? What's something you're excited about right now? Give us a little insight into where you go from here, because by a lot of standards, a lot of accounts, you're killing it in what you're doing now. Is it just going to be more, just bigger and more of what you're doing now, or is there something else coming?
We are going to continue to develop and niche down into the professional window cleaning market. For the past 4 years, I've been trying to acquire the domain windowcleaner.com, and I finally just won the auction for it. So we're going to be building out a pretty amazing website there for window cleaners. I'm not ready to divulge all the specifics of it, but it's going to be my final project, the final big thing we work on, the end-all, be-all destination for professional window cleaners around the globe.
Well, that sounds really awesome, Chris, and I know that you're the right guy for the job on that. Everybody keep that in your notebook, windowcleaner.com. I don't think it's quite ready yet, but that's something you're going to want to keep an eye on. And again, this isn't just for window cleaners. I mean, I view all businesses as having the same basic infrastructure. You have a customer life cycle, you have sales, service, operations. All those things need to be systemized. And whether you're mowing someone's lawn or you're power washing someone's house or you're cleaning something that's dirty, it doesn't matter. That's just the product portion of the business. And I think you can get a lot of value and insight from Chris. Chris Lambrinides, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. You're such a inspiration. The story coming from nothing, building this huge business, unbelievable. Do you have any last thoughts?
Just thank you very much for having me on, Josh. I loved it. It was fun.
Hey, thanks for hanging out, friends. And from all of us here at the Quick Talk Podcast team, we hope you loved today's show. We hope that you were inspired to become a doer and not just a listener. Apply what you've heard today in your own business and watch things change for the better. Lastly, remember that all the money in the world can't save your soul. Seek first the kingdom of God, my friends. We'll see you next time.
For more information about the Quick Talk Podcast or Joshua's other businesses, visit our website, quicktalkpodcast.com. Have a blessed day.